What's going on? We've had some weird weather the past couple of weeks. A few days ago, we got about 6 to 12 inches of snow, depending on where you are. And then immediately it warmed up to like 54 degrees in a couple of days, and it poured. So I came up here to Eels Preserve, and I'm gonna hike around a little bit and see what we got as far as winter type weather, winter type snow. This part of the trail is pretty much all ice. I think I will move onto the actual trails here and we'll take a look around, see what winter looks like. So I am like 2 minutes in, and I just stepped, where is it? I just stepped on a spot, like right here somewhere, and it just looks like snow, but it was a sheet of ice, and I almost went down. So I did bring my micro spikes. I'm gonna throw these on, just to be safe. You may notice no micro spikes, and that is because after, I don't even know, 6 or 7 years I've had these. My micro spikes finally broke. Well, I'm glad it happened somewhere where I'm close to home and I'm not really relying on the spikes. If I was about ready to do a long hike or backpacking trip where I needed them, that would have sucked. So, yep, they broke. I can't complain. Put those in my pocket. Can't complain. I got good long amount of use out of those. Those were the Katulas, and I put a lot of miles on those. I mean, there's backpacking trips I took where I wore them for days straight. I couldn't even take them off at camp. So got my use out of them. I guess I'll go back out to the main trail here, which is right over there. I'll cycle through. All right, I'll just wrap around, and that's a little more open, and I can see what's icy out there, and I can avoid it. And if it's too icy, well, this will be a very short video. That main road is mostly all ice. It's kind of the problem when you get snow and it warms up and it rains, and then it drops again. You just get a lot of ice. I was hoping there's going to be more snow up here. I was hoping it wouldn't have warmed up quite as much on top of the mountain, but I mean, 50s down by me, 54 overnight. That hit at like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. It got up that warm. That's just crazy. See how far I can make it. It's not looking promising though. There's a lot of water in this little holding pond here. I don't know if I've ever seen water pouring in here like that. There's another small holding pond right up above here, and that thing is filled completely. I don't think I've ever even seen water in that one. Yeah, I think that's the end of the road for this little hiking adventure. Without spikes, I'm not crossing those rocks. They're all ice. It's hard enough just to get down here, and everything that way is ice. And if I go straight on this road that I'm on right now, that's all ice out there too. And I know from experience that once you get up to where it levels off, the water just pools up in there, and it's all just ice. So this video is about to turn into a long-term end-of-life review for the micro spikes. I'm gonna go back to the car, head home, and I'll see you when I get there. And I'm back. That was a short hike, But like I said, I'd rather that happen when I'm close to home than if I drove out or was on a backpacking trip and in the middle of the trip and needed the spikes and they broke. That would have sucked. But let's talk about these things. So when I got home, I went online real quick and I looked up when I purchased these. I got these off of Amazon in December of 2014. So it's 2024, but I mean, it's January, so 9 years. 9 years I had these. And actually, as I was putting them on today, I was looking at them, and I don't know if you can see how they used to be really bright red. They're very faded. And I was putting them on, I'm like, I wonder how many trips these have left in them. I really thought that one of these little grommet holes would have gone first, but it was on the side. It's right here. And it's probably, I don't know what caused that. I mean, 9 years, this kind of rubberized plastic. Still got a lot of stretch in other spots. There's just no way to fix that. So the specs on these are the Kahtoola micro spikes. These are what are these, mediums? These are mediums. They're a little tight on my winter boots, but I don't think that was the problem. I just think it was age. Obviously, you get two of them. The spikes themselves are pretty worn. I'm not gonna lie. They're pretty round anymore. They some of them got a little more of a spike on them, but where the bulk of my weight goes, yeah, they're pretty worn. I know the new ones have a slightly different style. I mean, it's been 10 years. So, you know, these probably weren't made the second I bought them, so these are probably a 10-year-old style. I think they're a little bit thinner now, new ones. And they've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 spikes on the bottom. Got these nice chains. And I think the new ones are very similar to construction. But yeah, you get the two of them, and then these also came with a very nice stuff sack, which I'm going to hold on to. I know they're $75, 74 and change, so $75. I think that's what they cost. It might have been $65 when I got them, but I had a $50 gift card, so I really only paid $15 for them. So $15 for like $70 spikes, somewhere around there, that lasted almost, just over 9 years. I can't complain. I know there's other brands of these, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace these with a much, much cheaper pair, like a $15 pair. I just ordered them off of Amazon, just to see what the difference is. If I get a season out of those, or maybe 2 seasons, it might be worth it. Just to see what the difference is, because I mean, yeah, those ones are made in China, but I'm 90% sure these are made in China too. What's that say? Pretty faded. Okay, well, not in China, but these are made in Korea, so they're not made in the U.S. So the new ones, I'll get those, I'll test those out, but there are a lot of trips. Some of them are on this board behind me that would never have happened if I didn't have these. Over 9 years, just whole backpacking trips where I went 3-4 days just not taking these off because I couldn't. It's just too icy on the trail and at camp. So a lot of adventures, hiking adventures and backpacking, some trips just never would have happened without these. And in videos over the past 9 years, I've talked about these when I put them on and how important they are to have and just what they allow you to be able to do in the winter. Yeah, I mean, today's a perfect example. If they didn't break, I'd still be out there right now. I'd be hiking around without a care in the world. But without them, I could barely stand on my feet. There was snow that looked just like snow, but it had this really thick coating of ice on it because of all that rain, and then the temperature dropped. It was slick out there. And nobody needs to fall. If you fall in snow, that's one thing. But when you're falling on frozen ground, that hurts. And just to go out and hike and have a good time, not worth it. So yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't even know how many miles I put on these. I could try to figure it out, but a lot of miles. I mean, I don't know exactly. I I would. I don't even know how many miles. Pretty much every winter, these go in my bag in like late November, and they stay until March. Sometime in March when it starts, warming up and it's not icy anymore. And a lot of times, at least even for a couple minutes on a trail, I'll throw these on. But yeah, whole trips, I just wore these the entire time. Gonna miss the old Catullus, but I will test the new pair and see uh, what they're like and talk about those. Hopefully, we'll have more winter weather this winter. Looks like it's going to start getting colder here in the end of January into February, which is usually the case. But yeah, that break is, I'm so glad it happened as I was putting them on. And I can actually see where there's a little spot here that's a little bit dirtier than the rest, so it must have got to start to split a little bit just due to age, and then it just finally was. But yeah, really glad that happened as I was putting them on and not while they were on and I had weight on them and then they let go. That would have sucked a lot. That would have gone right down. I almost did. I wasn't recording. I was on that little part of Charles 2 minutes into the hike, and it was like I was on rollers. It was so slippery, and I slid probably 5 feet, caught myself. I didn't fall. I don't know how, but I slid off the trail and I moved over to that little grassy spot, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna put these on, and yeah, they snapped, and I was like, oh. They're like old friends, and they finally gave out. So if you're interested in winter hiking and you're thinking, do I really need them? You might not need the spikes. Yaktrax work just as well. There's other versions of these that just have they're like little golf cleats, and they just give you enough traction. It helps for as light as they are, and for the mobility they give you. I would definitely suggest winter hiking, have spikes with you. I know I've mentioned this before. There's a website up in the Catskills called the Catskills Mountaineer, I think is the name of the website. And a lot of information about the trails up there. And then there's always news stories. And every winter, I haven't looked this year, but I guarantee you there's stories on there already about people needing to be rescued. Or, I mean, in the worst case scenarios, people have fallen to death. And in the articles, one of the last things they usually say is the hiker was not wearing microspikes. Doesn't have to be microspikes, Yaktrax or some kind of traction. They really do make a difference. So for safety's sake, just have them with you. And you'd be amazed at how much more enjoyable it is when you don't feel like you're going to fall. And for people who fall in the mountains, I mean, sometimes you need more aggressive, like crampons, which sometimes you see these listed on websites, things like them as crampons. These are not crampons. Crampons are giant spikes, like big spikes that grab an ice. They're made for mountaineering and ice climbing. These are just traction on icy surfaces. That's all these are for. If the conditions get too bad, don't rely on these. You can't rely on these. Can give you a very a big sense of false security sometimes, and they are great. And I'm not trying to tell you don't get them, but don't rely on them as like, oh, foolproof, nothing can go wrong. Not with these, but with my snowshoes one year, and it could happen with these as well. But with my snowshoes, which have more of a crampon style cleat on the bottom, we were at I think it was Merle Sinarski, not far from here, and it was a pretty steep hill, and not long, but just like maybe a 20-foot downward section. It was pretty steep, and was walking through underneath some trees or some rhododendrons or something like that. But we had gotten ice, and that section was all covered in ice, and my snowshoes stuck on the ice, but the ice broke free from the snow beneath it, and it was just like I was on giant skis, and I just slid down, and I was like, there's nothing I could do. I couldn't, you can't break free from that. So yeah, you might cling to the ice with these, but the ice might not cling to what it's frozen to. So always keep that in mind. So yeah, the end of the micro spikes. They had a good run, and we'll see what the new ones do. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Not much of a hiking video this week. The weather on the weekend was, I went out and did a little bit of walking around. I'll put some of that video up after the snow. But I was hoping it was going to keep going, and it kind of petered out. And then, like I said, that was on Saturday and Sunday. Monday was cool, it was a little above freezing. It snowed lightly, but then Tuesday it started at around freezing, and the temperature just kept on going up. The wind picked up, it started raining, and overnight between midnight and like 1 a.m. it hit like 54 degrees. And thankfully the rain stopped. This storm was huge. It went all up and down the East Coast, and like it was raining down in Florida. It was the same storm that was raining on us up here, and thankfully the rain stopped. I don't know how. It looked like it was going to rain for hours, and then it just kind of dissipated over us. Because I live, 60 feet from where I'm sitting is the Lackawanna River, and that gets high enough. We have a flood control project on this side, but with 6 inches of snow here, 12 plus, north of us, and it warms up and melts and it rains, that all comes down to this low area. So it could have flooded. We got lucky, but we'll see. We got more weather coming this weekend. Looks like it's going to be more rain. I'm hoping it's snow. I want snow. I really want snow, but we got something in the works to go find some snow. So that should be coming up shortly. Well, that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully the next one's outside. Involves some camping. If that rain misses, I'm going to try to get out Saturday and camp. Even if it's something short. Even if I only have one spike. I'll get out somewhere. That's going to do it for this one. See you in the next.